Most people move through the world believing their behavior is private, harmless, and unnoticed. They assume that what they do in public is just routine: walking, speaking, reacting, adjusting, hesitating. Yet every moment they are broadcasting far more than they realize. Human beings are not silent creatures. Even without words, they are expressing fear, insecurity, uncertainty, and a quiet longing for acceptance. And while most remain unaware of the signals they leak, others, those who understand the psychology of power, read these behaviors like an open book. Machiavelli believed that power is rarely about brute force. True influence comes from perception, and perception is crafted through the smallest, most ordinary choices: how you stand, how you move, how long you pause before speaking, whether your eyes settle or wander. These micro-behaviors form an invisible language, shaping how others rank you, trust you, or dismiss you. The tragedy is that many people sabotage themselves without ever intending it. They reveal uncertainty through nervous habits, diminish their presence through apologetic gestures, and expose emotional weakness through subtle expressions that feel insignificant in the moment. Yet, to the observant mind, these signals are unmistakable. Those who rise in life, leaders, thinkers, strategists, do not avoid these behaviors because of pride or image. They avoid them because they understand something deeper. Every public action is a statement of internal order or internal chaos. Power begins with self-mastery, long before it becomes influence over others. And this is where the illusion becomes dangerous, because the behaviors that weaken a person are not dramatic, loud, or obvious. They are quiet traps, almost invisible, traps that nearly everyone falls into, except those who know what to look for. 1. Oversharing your emotions. Publicly, there is a quiet cost to revealing too much of your emotional world in public. 1. Most people never notice until it is too late. When emotions spill out uncontrollably, whether through tears, sudden anger, loud complaints, or visible frustration, they expose the soft underbelly of a person's inner life. What feels like a moment of relief to the one expressing it becomes valuable information to everyone watching. Machiavelli warned that power begins with emotional discipline, because those who cannot master their own reactions become predictable, and predictability is the doorway to manipulation. Psychology reinforces this truth. Human beings instinctively assess emotional volatility as a sign of instability. Someone who loses control in public is unconsciously categorized as fragile, impulsive, or easily influenced. Even without intending harm, people begin to treat them differently, some with pity, others with caution, and a few with opportunism. Modern life amplifies this problem. Social media encourages emotional performance, rewarding vulnerability that is packaged and displayed for an audience. But strong individuals understand the hidden danger in this. Every emotion publicly expressed is a blueprint to one's psychological vulnerabilities. What hurts, what provokes, what breaks. Imagine a person who cracks open during a public moment of stress. At first, others offer sympathy, but later, someone who observed carefully uses that knowledge to pressure them, manipulate them, or undermine them. The lesson is subtle but powerful. Emotions are precious, and when exposed without intention, they give the world more access to you than you might ever want. To public apology addiction there. is a subtle form of self-erasure that many people practice without realizing it. The habit of apologizing for simply existing. They say sorry, not only when they make a mistake, but when they ask a question, when they speak up, when they take up space, or when they momentarily inconvenience someone who barely notices them. On the surface, these apologies seem polite, but beneath them lies a deep insecurity, a belief that one's presence is a burden, that one must shrink in order to be accepted. Psychology reveals that chronic over-apologizing stems from fear. Fear of conflict, fear of judgment, fear of being seen as imperfect. It becomes a reflex, a way of preemptively softening oneself so the world will not strike first. Yet, in the process, something far more damaging happens. Each unnecessary apology diminishes authority, weakens presence, and trains others to view the speaker as submissive. Society reinforces this pattern. Schools reward quiet compliance. Workplaces value those who don't challenge the hierarchy. Social environments encourage people to be agreeable rather than assertive. Over time, apologizing becomes a survival mechanism. But Machiavelli emphasized that a leader must project confidence even in uncertainty. Strong individuals understand this. They apologize when they have genuinely harmed someone, not to seek validation, not to avoid imagined conflict, and never as a way to justify their existence. Their restraint transforms apology from a habit into a deliberate, meaningful act. 3. Seeking approval from the crowd. There is a subtle compulsion that grips almost everyone, the need to be liked, admired, or accepted. Some laugh louder than they feel, exaggerate their stories, or nod even when they know they are wrong, all in pursuit of approval from the crowd. Evolutionary psychology explains part of this instinct. For most of human history, social rejection was dangerous, even deadly. Being cast out from the group meant exposure, vulnerability, isolation. Our brains carry this ancient fear, and in subtle ways, it shapes modern behavior. Yet the strongest individuals recognize that this instinct is a trap. They refuse to perform for social validation. They do not bend themselves into shapes that please others. They understand that seeking approval from everyone is a surrender of identity. Imagine a person who changes with every group they enter, mirroring opinions, adopting mannerisms, hiding true thoughts. At first, it seems adaptive. They are liked. They are included. But each adjustment strips away a piece of their authenticity, leaving behind a hollow shell shaped entirely by external expectations. Over time, they forget who they truly are. Power does not come from being adored by the crowd. Influence is not borrowed from the approval of others. Strong people understand this. They shape the environment. They move with clarity. And they project authority, not because they are popular, but because they are anchored in their own unshakable sense of self. For loud confrontations and public drama, public confrontation is often mistaken for strength. Many believe that raising their voice, dominating an argument, or creating drama signals authority. In truth, it does the opposite. Loud outbursts, impulsive reactions, and visible anger reveal the cracks beneath the surface, the insecurity, the lack of control, the inability to think strategically. Power, as Machiavelli observed, is most effective when quiet, measured, and deliberate. It does not need to announce itself with noise. Consider the everyday scenario. Someone erupts in a store over a minor inconvenience. They shout, point fingers, and demand attention. Onlookers may initially feel the tension, but the long-term effect is exposure. The person has revealed their psychological vulnerabilities, the triggers that unravel them, the wounds that can be exploited, the impatience that masks fear. Every raised voice, every impulsive gesture leaves a record for anyone paying attention. Strong individuals operate differently. They understand that silence is a weapon, timing is an advantage, and measured words carry far more weight than shouts. They allow others to speak first, listen carefully, and strike with precision when the moment serves their purpose. Their composure is both a shield and a signal, a demonstration that they are in control, unshaken, and capable of far more than what meets the eye. True authority is not seen in volume, it is felt in restraint, in the quiet power that cannot be provoked. 5. Revealing personal plans and secrets. There is a hidden danger in speaking too freely about one's life, about dreams, heartbreaks, ambitions, or personal struggles. Every revelation, no matter how casual, is a piece of information that others can use. Humans are wired to observe patterns, make predictions, and act on opportunities. When someone lays bare their intentions, they hand others a roadmap to influence, interfere with, or even sabotage their path. Machiavelli called this principle strategic secrecy. Power is not only about action, but about what remains unseen. Those who understand this protect their goals, their plans, and their vulnerabilities, ensuring that no one else gains the advantage of knowing what moves they will make next. Silence, in this sense, is not avoidance, it is armor. Psychology reinforces the risk. People unconsciously judge, manipulate, or compete with anyone whose inner world they can predict. Each detail shared becomes a tool for others, whether through envy, opportunism, or simple curiosity. Consider someone who announces a major career move or personal project to friends and colleagues before it is ready. The excitement spreads, opinions are offered, doubts are planted, and before long, what began as a private vision is derailed by external interference. Success is rarely a public performance. It is quietly built, carefully guarded, and revealed only when the time is right. Those who speak too early often learn the hard way that information, once shared, is no longer theirs alone. 6. Public displays of insecurity in mere seconds. People form judgments about confidence, competence, and authority. Psychologists call this phenomenon thin slicing. Our brains instinctively read subtle cues, often before a word is spoken. Nervous fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, defensive posture, and constant self-correction all broadcast insecurity. What seems like a minor quirk is actually a loud signal to the world. Uncertainty lives here, waiting to be exploited. Compare to individuals entering the same room. One shifts constantly, taps fingers, lowers their gaze, and adjusts their clothing repeatedly. Every motion screams hesitation, signaling that they are easily unsettled. The other stands grounded, shoulders back but relaxed, movements deliberate, voice measured. Even without speaking, they communicate stability, control, and quiet authority. Strong individuals understand the language of the body. They do not need to assert dominance through volume or aggression. Instead, they use posture, pace, and stillness as tools. Each gesture is intentional. Each pause carries weight. The calm they project becomes a shield, the stillness a statement. They are unshakable, even under pressure. In the arena of perception, posture shapes reputation more than words ever could. While insecurity can erode respect silently, composure commands it effortlessly. Strength, in its most subtle form, is less about what is said and more about what is projected. The body speaks, and those who master it rarely need to explain themselves at all. 7. Watching others. Constantly for reactions. There is a quiet but revealing habit that undermines authority, constantly watching others for approval, validation, or emotional feedback. Every glance toward a peer, every flicker of anticipation for a nod or smile, exposes a dependency that is immediately perceptible. It signals fear of judgment, insecurity, and the inability to act without external confirmation. Social psychology shows that people who engage in this behavior are quickly categorized not as leaders, but as followers. Influence is never borrowed from the eyes of others. It is claimed from conviction. Imagine someone delivering a presentation. Every few seconds, their gaze darts toward the audience, searching for a reassuring reaction. Every nod, frown, or yawn is internalized, distracting them from the content they intended to deliver. Slowly, the room loses confidence. Attention drifts. Respect diminishes. The audience does not respond to the ideas, they respond to uncertainty. And uncertainty erodes authority faster than failure ever could. Strong individuals operate differently. Their focus is inward. They speak, move, and act from a clear internal compass, not from the reflection of others' emotions. They understand that influence is projected, not borrowed. By anchoring themselves in purpose rather than perception, they create an unshakable presence. While others scan the room for reassurance, they remain fully present, fully in control, and entirely immune to the subtle chains of social approval that bind most people. 8. Public self-sabotage through negative self-talk. Words have power not just over others, but over ourselves. When someone casually says, "I'm so stupid, I can't do anything right," or "I'm bad at everything," it may seem like harmless venting, yet each utterance leaves an imprint. Cognitive psychology reveals that repeated statements, even offhand ones, shape identity and expectation. They train not only the speaker's mind, but also the minds of those listening. The world begins to see the person through the lens they project. A self-deprecating comment becomes a subtle blueprint for judgment, lowering perceived competence before a word of action is taken. Consider a conversation where someone continuously undermines themselves. Friends begin to anticipate failure. Colleagues lose confidence. Observers notice hesitation, uncertainty, and lack of self-assurance. The person has unwittingly broadcast weakness, eroding authority and influence in real time. Strong individuals understand this dynamic. They do not plant seeds of doubt in public, nor do they invite others to define them. Every word is deliberate. Praise is measured. Critique is private, and self-reflection remains internal. By controlling language, they control perception. Negative self-talk is reserved for private contemplation, not public confession. Power, in part, lies in the restraint of speech. Those who master this realize that confidence is cultivated not through boastful claims, but through silence, selective disclosure, and the careful projection of a mind unshaken by its own shadows. 9. Mastering the unseen game. Every public action is a language, and most people speak it unconsciously. Every glance, every pause, every sigh, every word carries meaning signals sent out into the world long before a conscious thought arrives. The casual, unnoticed behaviors that fill daily life are far from neutral. They reveal fear, insecurity, and vulnerability. Those who fail to recognize this are at the mercy of observers, manipulators, and competitors. Strong individuals understand this invisible grammar. They recognize that every gesture, every reaction, and every carefully chosen word communicates something about who they are and what they value. They do not over-apologize. They do not perform for approval. They do not reveal their inner world to the first passerby. They act with deliberation, with restraint, and with a quiet awareness that perception shapes reality. Machiavelli's insight is timeless. If you do not control your image, others will control it for you. Mastering these 9 behaviors is not about manipulation. It is about reclamation, reclaiming dignity, privacy, and the freedom to act without giving away your leverage. It is the conscious choice to protect what is yours, to move with purpose rather than panic, to project strength without shouting. In the end, the truest power is not performed, flaunted, or demanded. It is cultivated silently within the mind and body, long before the world ever notices. Power isn't loud, it's quiet, and it comes from mastering yourself before the world ever sees you.